What if everything you thought you knew about Hollywood was a lie? Behind the glitz and glamour lies a web of dark secrets, occult rituals, mysterious deaths, and unspeakable abuse that the stars tried to bury. From the tragic fall of child stars to the powerful elite pulling strings behind the scenes, these stories expose the shocking truth Hollywood doesn't want you to know. Are you ready to peek behind the curtains? You might never look at your favorite celebrities the same way again. Story 1. The death of Brittany Murphy. Brittany Murphy's untimely death on December 20th, 2009, shocked Hollywood and left fans grappling with unanswered questions. The 32-year-old actress, known for her vibrant performances in films like Clueless, 8 Mile, and Just Married, was found unresponsive in the Los Angeles home she shared with her husband Simon Monjack and her mother, Sharon Murphy. The official cause of death was determined to be pneumonia, anemia, and a toxic mix of prescription and over-the-counter medications. However, the circumstances surrounding her death, and Monjack's own death just 5 months later, have fueled speculation of foul play, conspiracy, and hidden truths about life behind the Hollywood curtain. Murphy's career began in the 1990s, with her breakout role in Clueless catapulting her to fame. Despite her comedic talents and charisma, Murphy's Hollywood trajectory was uneven. In her later years, rumors of erratic behavior, struggles with her weight, and alleged drug use began to overshadow her career. These narratives, often fueled by tabloid sensationalism, painted a picture of a star in decline. However, those close to Murphy have vehemently denied these claims, pointing instead to systemic pressures and exploitation within the entertainment industry. The details of Murphy's final days have only deepened the mystery surrounding her death. Reports indicated she had been ill for several days, exhibiting flu-like symptoms. Despite her deteriorating condition, no medical attention was sought. The coroner's report suggested that her death could have been preventable with timely medical care, raising questions about the role of those closest to her, specifically Monjack and her mother. Simon Monjack, a British screenwriter and director, was a controversial figure even before Murphy's death. Their relationship had been a subject of intense scrutiny, with some describing him as controlling and opportunistic. After her death, Monjack faced allegations of mismanaging Murphy's finances and isolating her from friends and colleagues. The situation became even murkier when Monjack himself died in the same home just 5 months later, reportedly from acute pneumonia and severe anemia, the same causes as Murphy's death. The eerie similarities between their deaths sparked widespread speculation. Some theorized that toxic mold in their Hollywood Hills home could have been responsible, although this theory was later dismissed by health officials. Others pointed to potential foul play, fueled by allegations of a toxic and controlling environment within their household. Murphy's father, Angelo Bertolotti, became a vocal proponent of the idea that his daughter had been poisoned, commissioning independent toxicology tests that purportedly found high levels of heavy metals in her system. However, these findings were dismissed by experts as inconclusive. Adding to the intrigue are claims that Murphy and Monjack were targeted for their knowledge of sensitive information. In the months before her death, Murphy reportedly expressed fears of being watched and even believed she was being followed. Some conspiracy theories suggest her alleged knowledge of corruption within the Department of Homeland Security, stemming from Monjack's claims that Murphy had been blacklisted after speaking out in defense of a whistleblower, may have made her a target. While definitive answers remain elusive, Murphy's death highlights the darker side of Hollywood fame. Her story is one of talent and promise cut short, leaving behind a legacy tainted by mystery and unresolved questions. As the years pass, the call for a deeper investigation into her death persists, driven by fans and advocates determined to uncover the truth. Story 2. Marilyn Monroe's death and conspiracy theories. On August 5th, 1962, the world awoke to the shocking news that Marilyn Monroe, Hollywood's ultimate icon, had been found dead in her Brentwood home. Officially ruled a probable suicide due to an overdose of barbiturates, her death has been the subject of countless conspiracy theories, with whispers of political intrigue, Hollywood cover-ups, and foul play. Marilyn Monroe epitomized the golden age of Hollywood, but beneath her radiant smile lay a life marked by loneliness, substance abuse, and exploitation. By the time of her death at 36, Monroe had endured failed marriages, professional struggles, and an ever-growing dependence on drugs to cope with the pressures of stardom. However, it is her alleged relationships with John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert F. Kennedy that have cemented her death as one of Hollywood's most enduring mysteries. Monroe's alleged affair with President Kennedy, though never officially confirmed, has been widely speculated. Her sultry rendition of Happy Birthday, Mr. President at Madison Square Garden in May 1962 is often cited as evidence of their intimate connection. Rumors suggest that Monroe's involvement with JFK and potentially Robert Kennedy placed her in dangerous proximity to the political elite. Her personal diary, reportedly containing sensitive information about the Kennedys, Cuba, and other classified matters, is often cited as a potential motive for silencing her. On the night of her death, Marilyn's housekeeper, Eunice Murray, claimed to have discovered her lifeless body after noticing that Monroe's bedroom light was still on in the early hours of the morning. The official timeline, however, is riddled with inconsistencies. For instance, the delayed arrival of the police and discrepancies in witness statements have fueled speculation that key details were suppressed. One theory posits that Monroe was murdered by the Kennedy family or their associates to prevent her from exposing damaging secrets. The idea gained traction with the publication of books like The Strange Death of Marilyn Monroe, which alleges that Monroe was a liability to powerful men. Others suggest that the FBI or CIA orchestrated her death due to her knowledge of state secrets. Declassified FBI files reveal that Monroe was under surveillance, further fueling suspicions of foul play. Adding to the intrigue are allegations of Hollywood's involvement in covering up Monroe's death. Peter Lawford, an actor and Kennedy family associate, has been implicated in some accounts as a mediator who worked to protect the Kennedys from scandal. Lawford's reluctance to speak publicly about the events leading up to Monroe's death has only deepened suspicions. There are also theories linking Monroe's demise to her psychiatrist, Dr. Ralph Green's son, who prescribed the barbiturates that led to her overdose. Critics argue that Monroe's physicians over-medicated her, either out of negligence or as part of a broader conspiracy to keep her compliant and docile in her tumultuous personal life. In popular culture, Monroe's death has been romanticized and mythologized, but it remains a stark reminder of Hollywood's darker undercurrents. The pressures of fame, the exploitation of vulnerable stars, and the intersections of power and secrecy coalesce in her tragic story. Whether her death was the result of personal despair or a sinister plot, Monroe's life and untimely end serve as a potent symbol of Hollywood's destructive allure. Story 3. The Hollywood Sex Cult, NXIVM. Beneath Hollywood's glittering surface, the NXIVM sex cult scandal revealed an underworld of manipulation, abuse, and exploitation involving prominent celebrities. Founded in 1998 by Keith Raniere, NXIVM was initially marketed as a self-help organization, offering personal development workshops that promised success, empowerment, and enlightenment. By the mid-2000s, it had attracted a growing list of wealthy and influential adherents, including Hollywood actress Allison Mack, whose involvement would later shock the world. Mack, best known for her role in the television series Smallville, joined NXIVM in 2006, becoming one of Raniere's most devoted followers. Publicly, Mack portrayed herself as a champion of female empowerment, but behind the scenes, she became a key player in recruiting women into Das Dominus Obsequious Sororium, a secretive subgroup within NXIVM that operated as a master-slave system. DOS members were branded with Raniere's initials and coerced into providing damaging collateral, such as explicit photos or incriminating confessions, to ensure their loyalty. The group's recruitment tactics often targeted vulnerable individuals, including aspiring actors and artists drawn to NXIVM's promises of networking opportunities and personal growth. Mack reportedly used her Hollywood status to lure recruits, convincing them that Raniere's teachings could unlock their potential. Instead, they were drawn into a manipulative hierarchy where Raniere exercised total control, demanding obedience, sexual servitude, and even extreme dieting to conform to his preferences. NXIVM's ties to Hollywood were not limited to Mack. Actress Kristen Kruk, also from Smallville, attended some NXIVM workshops but distanced herself from the organization as its darker practices came to light. Claire and Sarah Bronfman, heiresses to the Seagram liquor fortune, were key financial backers of NXIVM, helping sustain its operations and shielding Raniere from scrutiny for years. The group's downfall began in 2017, when former members started speaking out about the abuses they endured. Their testimonies exposed the chilling inner workings of NXIVM, including physical branding ceremonies, blackmail, and the psychological manipulation used to entrap members. In 2018, federal authorities arrested Raniere, Mack, and other high-ranking members on charges of racketeering, sex trafficking, and forced labor. Mack's trial became a media spectacle, with revelations about her deep involvement in recruiting and controlling women within DOS. In 2021, she was sentenced to 3 years in prison after expressing remorse for her actions. Keith Raniere, meanwhile, received a 120-year prison sentence, ensuring that he would never again exploit his position of power. The NXIVM scandal highlighted the vulnerabilities of individuals seeking self-improvement and the dangers of unchecked influence within Hollywood circles. It also raised broader questions about the complicity of the entertainment industry in enabling predators and the seductive power of cult-like organizations that promise success in a competitive world. The scandal serves as a stark reminder that fame and ambition can make even the brightest stars susceptible to exploitation. Story 4. Child Stars and the Shadow of Abuse. Hollywood has long been a place where dreams are made, but for many child stars, it has also been a nightmare. Over the decades, numerous former child actors have spoken out about the exploitation, manipulation, and abuse they suffered behind the scenes. While their stories have shed light on systemic issues in the entertainment industry, they have also revealed a darker, more insidious reality: the alleged existence of a Hollywood pedophile ring. Corey Feldman, a former child star who rose to fame in films like The Goonies and Stand By Me, has been one of the most outspoken voices on this subject. In his memoir, Choreography, and subsequent interviews, Feldman described how he and his best friend, fellow child actor Corey Haim, were sexually abused by powerful figures in Hollywood. According to Feldman, this abuse was not isolated, but part of a larger, organized network preying on vulnerable young actors. Feldman's revelations reignited public scrutiny of the entertainment industry, particularly its treatment of child actors. He alleged that high-profile individuals within Hollywood used their influence to silence victims and protect predators, creating an environment where abuse could continue unchecked. Feldman's claims, while met with both support and skepticism, underscore a systemic issue that has plagued Hollywood for decades. The tragic life and death of Corey Haim further illustrate the devastating consequences of this exploitation. Haim, who struggled with substance abuse for much of his life, reportedly confided in friends about being raped by a prominent Hollywood figure during his teenage years. While Haim never publicly named his abuser, his struggles have become emblematic of the toll that such trauma can take on young performers. Beyond the Coreys, other former child stars have come forward with their own stories of abuse and mistreatment. Elijah Wood, best known for his role in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, has spoken about the dark side of Hollywood, alleging that a network of pedophiles has operated within the industry for years. Wood clarified that he was fortunate to have been protected by his mother, who shielded him from unsavory figures. However, his comments highlight a persistent problem that many others were not able to avoid. The accusations extend beyond individual cases to systemic failures within the entertainment industry. Parents and guardians, often overwhelmed by the pressures of Hollywood or eager for their child's success, sometimes turned a blind eye to warning signs. Studio executives and agents wielded immense power over young performers, creating a culture where exploitation could thrive. The issue of child abuse in Hollywood is not limited to physical and sexual exploitation. Many child actors were also subjected to emotional abuse, grueling work schedules, and the pressure to maintain a public persona far beyond their years. Judy Garland's harrowing experiences as a young actress, including being fed pills to control her weight and energy levels, highlight the long-standing nature of this exploitation. In recent years, the Me Too movement has brought greater attention to issues of abuse and harassment in Hollywood. While much of the focus has been on adult victims, the movement has also encouraged former child stars to share their experiences. This newfound transparency has led to calls for reform, including stricter labor laws, better oversight, and a commitment to protecting the welfare of young performers. Despite these efforts, the shadow of abuse continues to linger. The allegations of a Hollywood pedophile ring remain unproven, but they underscore the urgent need for systemic change. For many former child stars, the scars of their experiences are a painful reminder of the industry's failure to protect its most vulnerable members. Their stories serve as both a cautionary tale and a call to action, demanding accountability and a safer future for generations to come. Story 5. The Black Dahlia Murder and Hollywood's Underbelly. In the shadowy world of post-war Los Angeles, the brutal murder of Elizabeth Short, infamously known as the Black Dahlia, remains one of the most chilling unsolved crimes in Hollywood history. On January 15, 1947, the mutilated body of the 22-year-old aspiring actress was discovered in Leimert Park, severed in half and posed grotesquely in a vacant lot. The case shocked the nation, exposing the darker undercurrents of Hollywood's glamorous facade. Elizabeth Short moved to Los Angeles in pursuit of stardom, like countless others drawn to the allure of fame. However, her dreams were thwarted by a series of dead-end jobs and failed relationships. Short became a fixture in Hollywood's nightlife, mingling with shady characters and struggling to make ends meet. Her mysterious lifestyle fueled speculation about her connections to powerful men in the film industry, some of whom allegedly exploited aspiring actresses like her. The murder investigation quickly spiraled into chaos. Over 150 suspects were interrogated, including doctors, drifters, and prominent figures in Hollywood. The media frenzy transformed Short into a macabre symbol of the city's darker side, with lurid headlines sensationalizing her tragic life. Dubbed the Black Dahlia by the press, her case became a cautionary tale for young women drawn to Hollywood's seductive but dangerous promise. One of the most compelling theories links Short's death to Dr. George Hodel, a wealthy physician with a penchant for surrealism and ties to the art world. Hodel's son, Steve Hodel, a former LAPD detective, has extensively investigated his father, uncovering disturbing evidence that suggests George Hodel may have been the killer. The elder Hodel's connections to Hollywood elites and his residence in the now infamous Soden House, a structure designed by Frank Lloyd Wright Jr., have only deepened the intrigue surrounding his potential involvement. Additionally, rumors persist that Short's murder may have been a ritualistic killing, with ties to the occult practices rumored to have infiltrated Hollywood's elite circles at the time. The precise nature of the mutilation, eerily reminiscent of artistic themes popular in avant-garde circles, suggests a killer with a deeply twisted mindset and possible ties to the city's artistic or criminal elite. The Black Dahlia murder underscores the grim reality behind Hollywood's golden era. Beneath the dazzling lights and glamorous premieres, the city harbored dark secrets, where desperation and exploitation collided with ambition and power. Elizabeth Short's unsolved case remains a haunting reminder of the vulnerabilities faced by those seeking fame in a world willing to consume them whole. Story 6. The Polanski-Tate Connection. The late 1960s were a time of radical cultural change in Hollywood, but few events shocked the industry as profoundly as the Manson family murders, the brutal slaying of actress Sharon Tate and her friends at 10050 Cielo Drive. These murders not only claimed the life of Tate, a rising star, but also cast a long shadow over her husband, director Roman Polanski. Adding to the tragedy was the persistent swirl of rumors involving occultism, dark energies, and Polanski's own unsettling connections to the macabre. Sharon Tate, best known for her role in Valley of the Dolls, was 8 months pregnant when members of the Manson family broke into the home she shared with Polanski. On the night of August 8, 1969, 4 followers of Charles Manson stormed the house and savagely killed Tate and 4 others, including celebrity hairstylist Jay Sebring. The word pig was scrawled on the front door in blood, cementing the murders as one of the most shocking crimes of the century. Polanski, who was in Europe working on a film at the time, was devastated by the loss of his wife and unborn child. However, His grief was soon compounded by whispers of occult connections tied to the couple's lives. Polanski's film Rosemary's Baby, a chilling tale of a woman impregnated by Satan, was released just a year earlier and had become an international sensation. Some began to speculate that the film's themes of devil worship had somehow cursed the director and his wife. Adding fuel to the fire were rumors about the house at Cielo Drive itself. The property had been previously rented by music producer Terry Melcher, who had reportedly rebuffed Charles Manson's attempts to secure a recording contract. Some theorists suggest that Manson targeted the house out of revenge, unaware that Melcher had moved out. Others claim Manson's motives went deeper, involving esoteric beliefs and a supposed connection between Hollywood elites and occult practices. Polanski's life after the murders took an even darker turn. In 1977, he was arrested for the sexual assault of a 13-year-old girl, a crime that has since overshadowed his career. Polanski fled the United States before sentencing and remains a fugitive to this day, living in Europe and continuing to direct critically acclaimed films. Critics have pointed to his personal life and the Manson murders as evidence of a broader darkness lurking in Hollywood's glamorous facade. The Manson family killings and the lore that surrounds them have been immortalized in pop culture. However, the tragedy of Sharon Tate's death and the legacy of Polanski's controversial life continue to provoke unsettling questions about the cost of fame, power, and the hidden shadows of Hollywood. Story 7. Judy Garland and Hollywood Exploitation. Judy Garland, one of the most iconic performers in Hollywood history, captivated audiences with her voice, charm, and vulnerable on-screen presence. Best known for her role as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, Garland's career seemed like a dream come true. However, beneath the surface lay a tragic reality. The abusive treatment she endured at the hands of studio executives contributed significantly to her struggles with addiction, self-worth, and ultimately, her untimely death. Born Frances Ethel Gum in 1922, Garland entered show business at a young age, performing in vaudeville with her sisters before signing with MGM at age 13. Her talent was undeniable, but MGM executives quickly began molding her into their ideal of a star, regardless of the personal cost. The pressures Garland faced as a teenager in the studio system were relentless, with executives criticizing her weight, appearance, and behavior. Louis B. Mayer, the head of MGM, reportedly referred to Garland as his little hunchback, a cruel nickname that reinforced her insecurities. To maintain her slim figure, studio heads subjected her to a harsh regimen of strict dieting and amphetamines, which were commonly prescribed to keep stars thin and energized. She was also given barbiturates to help her sleep, creating a vicious cycle of dependency that plagued her for the rest of her life. During the filming of The Wizard of Oz, Garland's mistreatment reached disturbing levels. She was just 16 years old, but was placed under enormous pressure to deliver a perfect performance. The studio allegedly controlled every aspect of her life, dictating what she ate, where she went, and how she behaved. Reports suggest she was forced to wear a restrictive corset to maintain a childlike figure and endured harassment from male colleagues, including the actors who played the Munchkins. Despite these challenges, Garland delivered a performance that cemented her status as a Hollywood legend. But the fame and adoration she achieved came at a steep price. MGM continued to exploit her well into adulthood, casting her in back-to-back musicals and demanding grueling work hours. The constant scrutiny of her appearance and relentless work schedule exacerbated her mental health struggles and deepened her reliance on drugs and alcohol. By the 1950s, Garland's career began to unravel. MGM terminated her contract in 1950, citing her erratic behavior and inability to fulfill her obligations. Stripped of the support system she had known for most of her life, Garland struggled to find stability. Her personal life became increasingly tumultuous, marked by failed marriages, financial difficulties, and deteriorating health. Garland's tragic decline culminated in her death in 1969 from a barbiturate overdose at the age of 47. While her death was ruled accidental, it was the inevitable result of years of exploitation and mistreatment by an industry that prioritized profit over the well-being of its stars. Her story remains a stark reminder of the dark side of Hollywood's golden age, where young talents were often chewed up and discarded by a system that valued their image more than their humanity. Today, Garland's legacy endures as both a cautionary tale and a testament to her extraordinary resilience. Her life highlights the urgent need for better protections for performers, particularly young actors who are vulnerable to exploitation. Garland's voice and performances may have brought joy to millions, but her personal story serves as a sobering reminder of the cost of fame in a system that all too often neglects the individual behind the star. Story 8. The Church of Scientology's Celebrity Influence. The Church of Scientology, one of the most controversial religious organizations in the world, has long maintained a significant presence in Hollywood. Founded by science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard in 1953, Scientology has cultivated strong ties with celebrities, leveraging their fame to promote the organization and shield it from criticism. Figures like Tom Cruise and John Travolta have become the public faces of Scientology, but its grip on Hollywood extends far beyond their involvement, shrouded in secrecy and controversy. Scientology's appeal to Hollywood stars lies in its promise of personal empowerment, success, and spiritual enlightenment. The church offers courses and auditing sessions designed to help individuals overcome personal barriers and achieve their full potential. For celebrities operating in a high-pressure industry, this can be an enticing proposition. However, former members and critics have painted a far darker picture of the organization, alleging manipulation, abuse, and exploitation. Tom Cruise, arguably the most prominent Scientologist, has often been described as the church's poster boy. His public declarations of devotion, including his infamous interview on the Oprah Winfrey Show, where he leaped onto a couch to profess his love for Katie Holmes, have drawn both attention and ridicule. Behind the scenes, Cruise's relationship with Scientology is said to be deeply intertwined with his personal and professional life. Reports suggest that the church arranged aspects of his relationships and even facilitated auditions for potential romantic partners, a claim the organization has denied. John Travolta is another high-profile Scientologist who has consistently defended the church, crediting it with helping him overcome personal struggles and maintain his career. However, his affiliation has not been without controversy. Some former Scientologists claim the church has shielded its celebrity members from scandal, raising questions about its influence and the extent to which it controls the narrative surrounding its stars. Beyond individual celebrities, Scientology's presence in Hollywood is bolstered by its celebrity centers, lavish facilities designed to cater to the elite. These centers serve as recruitment hubs, targeting actors, musicians, and other entertainment professionals with promises of career advancement and spiritual fulfillment. Critics argue that the church exploits the insecurities of those in the industry, offering a sense of belonging and purpose in exchange for loyalty and financial contributions. The controversies surrounding Scientology are well documented. Former members have accused the church of harassment, coercion, and abuse. The organization's aggressive tactics against critics and defectors, including lawsuits and smear campaigns, have been widely reported. Leah Remini, a former Scientologist and outspoken critic, has exposed the church's inner workings in her documentary series Scientology and the Aftermath, shedding light on its practices and the experiences of those who have left. Despite these controversies, Scientology's influence in Hollywood persists, thanks in large part to its high-profile members and extensive resources. The church continues to maintain a veneer of legitimacy through its celebrity endorsements, while allegations of abuse and manipulation cast a long shadow over its operations. The intersection of Scientology and Hollywood reveals the complex dynamics of power, fame, and control. For some, the church offers a sense of purpose and support in an industry fraught with challenges. For others, it represents a deeply troubling institution that preys on vulnerability and wields disproportionate influence. As public scrutiny of Scientology grows, its hold on Hollywood may weaken, but its legacy as one of the industry's most controversial forces will undoubtedly endure. Story 9. Hollywood's ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The revelations about Jeffrey Epstein's sprawling network of influence sent shockwaves through powerful circles, including Hollywood. Epstein, a financier and convicted sex offender, maintained ties to a who's who of elites, ranging from politicians and royalty to A-list celebrities. His alleged partner in crime, Ghislaine Maxwell, played a key role in cultivating these connections, and Hollywood was not exempt from their sphere of influence. While much attention has focused on figures like Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton, names such as Kevin Spacey and Chris Tucker have also come under scrutiny for their associations with Epstein. Spacey reportedly traveled on Epstein's jet to Africa in 2002 alongside Ghislaine Maxwell, Bill Clinton, and actor Chris Tucker on a trip ostensibly focused on AIDS awareness. While no direct accusations have tied Spacey or Tucker to Epstein's criminal activities, their presence in his orbit raises questions about the extent of their knowledge regarding his illicit dealings. Chris Tucker's connection to Epstein seems less sinister than others, as his involvement appeared limited to the 2002 trip. However, in the context of Epstein's broader operations, even casual associations have been scrutinized. Tucker has not been implicated in any wrongdoing, but his name appearing alongside more controversial figures highlights how Epstein's reach extended into Hollywood circles. Beyond individual celebrities, Epstein's connections to Hollywood reflected his broader strategy of leveraging influential relationships to shield his activities and bolster his social standing. He hosted lavish parties attended by celebrities and power brokers, creating an air of legitimacy around his persona. Ghislaine Maxwell, often described as Epstein's partner and fixer, was instrumental in fostering these connections, using her charm and social clout to draw high-profile figures into their circle. Epstein's Hollywood ties also intersected with the broader culture of secrecy and exploitation that pervades the entertainment industry. Much like the allegations surrounding Harvey Weinstein, Epstein's operations relied on a system of enablers and a culture of silence. While many celebrities have denied any knowledge of Epstein's crimes, the question remains: how could so many powerful figures be connected to a man whose predatory behavior was an open secret in certain circles? Hollywood's connection to Epstein also underscores the entertainment industry's vulnerability to predators who exploit fame and influence for personal gain. Epstein's ties to individuals like Spacey and Tucker serve as a reminder that the veneer of celebrity can obscure darker realities. The entertainment industry, with its high stakes and high-profile players, offers fertile ground for individuals like Epstein to operate unchecked. As the Epstein saga continues to unfold, Hollywood's role in his network remains a subject of fascination and controversy. While some connections may be tangential or innocent, others point to a deeper entanglement that warrants further investigation. The revelations about Epstein have forced a reckoning across multiple sectors, and Hollywood is no exception. The industry's relationship with power, secrecy, and exploitation must be critically examined if it hopes to move forward with greater transparency and accountability. The deaths of Brittany Murphy and Simon Monjack, and the revelations about Jeffrey Epstein's Hollywood ties are stark reminders of the industry's darker side. Both stories highlight the pervasive exploitation, secrecy, and unanswered questions that linger beneath the surface of fame. They call for deeper scrutiny, not just of individual cases, but of the systemic issues that enable such tragedies and scandals to occur in the first place. Story 10. The Weinstein Scandal Before Me Too. Before the Me Too movement brought Harvey Weinstein's predatory behavior to light, the infamous producer operated unchecked for decades in Hollywood. As co-founder of Miramax and later the Weinstein Company, Weinstein held a powerful grip over the entertainment industry, producing critically acclaimed films such as Pulp Fiction, Shakespeare in Love, and Good Will Hunting. Behind the glittering success, however, lay a dark reality. A systemic pattern of sexual harassment, abuse, and assault enabled by an elaborate network of enablers and a culture of silence. Weinstein's behavior was an open secret in Hollywood long before the explosive 2017 exposés by the New York Times and the New Yorker. Rumors of his misconduct swirled as far back as the 1990s, with actresses, assistants, and journalists whispering stories of his predatory advances. Yet, despite whispers and occasional lawsuits, Weinstein's career thrived, bolstered by his ability to silence critics and survivors through intimidation, non-disclosure agreements, and settlements. Key to Weinstein's ability to to operate with impunity was the industry's reliance on his power as a gatekeeper. Aspiring actors and filmmakers often believed that crossing Weinstein could end their careers. He wielded his influence ruthlessly, promising stardom in exchange for compliance and threatening professional ruin for those who resisted. His empire was a carefully constructed machine, with lawyers, publicists, and assistants working to cover up allegations and discredit accusers. One of Weinstein's most infamous tactics was his use of settlements and NDAs. Survivors were often offered substantial financial payouts in exchange for their silence. These agreements not only shielded Weinstein from public accountability, but also perpetuated a cycle of abuse, as each new survivor found themselves facing a well-oiled machine of legal and financial suppression. Journalists also faced immense pressure when attempting to expose Weinstein's behavior. Reports emerged of how Weinstein used his connections with media executives to quash unflattering stories. In some cases, he hired private investigators and former intelligence operatives to dig up dirt on reporters and survivors, creating a climate of fear that deterred many from coming forward. The culture of complicity extended beyond Weinstein's personal network. Hollywood's broader culture of sexism and exploitation created an environment where abuse was normalized and often dismissed as the cost of success. Actresses were objectified and commodified, with casting couch scenarios treated as a dark but accepted part of the industry's history. Weinstein was not the first, nor the only predator in Hollywood, but his ability to evade consequences for so long highlighted the systemic failures that allowed abuse to flourish. The turning point came in 2017, when the New York Times published a groundbreaking report detailing decades of allegations against Weinstein. Journalists Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey documented accounts from survivors such as Ashley Judd and Rose McGowan, shining a light on the pervasive nature of Weinstein's misconduct. Soon after, The New Yorker published a follow-up report by Ronan Farrow, which included harrowing testimonies from additional survivors and chilling recordings of Weinstein's coercive behavior. The revelations about Weinstein sparked a cultural reckoning, fueling the rise of the Me Too movement and leading to his eventual downfall. However, the years he operated with impunity serve as a sobering reminder of the power dynamics and systemic protections that shield predators in Hollywood. Weinstein's story is not just about one man's abuses, but about an industry that enabled him, complicit in its silence. Story 11. The Curse of Poltergeist. The Poltergeist film series is one of Hollywood's most chilling horror franchises, but the eerie tales surrounding its production are almost as terrifying as the movies themselves. Often dubbed The Curse of Poltergeist, the series is linked to a string of tragic deaths, bizarre accidents, and alleged hauntings that have fueled speculation of a malevolent force haunting the cast and crew. Released in 1982, the original Poltergeist, directed by Tobe Hooper and produced by Steven Spielberg, tells the story of a suburban family tormented by vengeful spirits. The film's success spawned 2 sequels, but as the franchise grew, so did its dark legend. Fans and conspiracy theorists alike began to notice a troubling pattern: a series of premature deaths among cast members and bizarre occurrences on set. The most well-known tragedy associated with the Poltergeist Curse is the death of Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol in Freeling, the iconic child protagonist. O'Rourke died in 1988 at just 12 years old due to septic shock caused by an undiagnosed intestinal blockage. Her sudden death occurred shortly before the release of Poltergeist 3 and shocked fans and colleagues alike. O'Rourke's death became a focal point of the Curse narrative, with many speculating that her connection to the haunted series played a role in her untimely demise. Another tragic loss was Dominique Dunne, who portrayed Dana Freeling, Carolyn's older sister, in the original film. Dunne was brutally murdered by her ex-boyfriend, John Sweeney, in 1982, just months after the film's release. Sweeney strangled Dunne in the driveway of her West Hollywood home, leaving her in a coma from which she never recovered. She died 5 days later at the age of 22. Dunne's death added a sinister real-life element to the already chilling narrative of Poltergeist. Other cast members also faced unusual fates. Julian Beck, who played the terrifying Reverend Kane in Poltergeist 2, The other side died of stomach cancer shortly after filming his role. Will Sampson, who portrayed Taylor the Shaman in the same sequel, died a year later following complications from a heart-lung transplant. While both deaths were due to natural causes, their proximity to the films fed into the growing lore of a curse. Beyond the deaths, strange occurrences on set further deepened the legend. Cast and crew members reported unusual accidents, equipment malfunctions, and unexplained phenomena during filming. One of the most infamous stories involves the use of real, human skeletons in the first movie's climactic pool scene. JoBeth Williams, who played Diane Freeling, revealed years later that the skeletons were genuine, as they were cheaper to procure than realistic props. This revelation led many to speculate that the use of human remains may have cursed the production, angering the spirits depicted in the film. Adding to the mystique are claims of hauntings linked to the Poltergeist franchise. Several crew members have recounted experiencing paranormal activity while working on the films, from objects moving inexplicably to eerie feelings of being watched. While skeptics dismiss these tales as mere coincidence or exaggeration, the stories have persisted, cementing the Poltergeist Curse as one of Hollywood's most enduring urban legends. The curse has also sparked broader conversations about the psychological toll of working on horror films. Some experts argue that the intense, often macabre subject matter of horror productions can create a heightened sense of anxiety and paranoia, leading to the perception of supernatural phenomena. Others point to the natural human tendency to find patterns in random events, particularly when tragedy strikes in quick succession. Despite these explanations, the Poltergeist Curse continues to captivate the public's imagination. Whether viewed as a series of tragic coincidences or evidence of something more sinister, the legend of the curse has become an indelible part of Hollywood folklore. Decades after the film's release, their legacy endures, not just as iconic works of horror, but as a chilling reminder of the mysteries that sometimes follow art into reality. Story 12. Eyes Wide Shut and Hollywood's Secret Societies. Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut is often hailed as one of the most enigmatic films in cinematic history, leaving audiences unsettled by its cryptic narrative, dreamlike sequences, and shocking portrayal of secretive, debauched rituals. Released in 1999, shortly after Kubrick's death, the film has sparked countless conspiracy theories that suggest it may have revealed too much about the shadowy world of Hollywood elite and their alleged secret societies. Based on the 1926 novella Tromneville by Arthur Schnitzler, Eyes Wide Shut follows Dr. Bill Harford, played by Tom Cruise, as he descends into a surreal underworld of sexual intrigue and forbidden rituals after discovering his wife's near infidelity. The pivotal scene of the film, a masked orgy in an opulent mansion, serves as the centerpiece for many theories about Kubrick's intentions and the film's ties to real-life secret societies. Kubrick was known for his meticulous attention to detail and uncompromising creative vision, and many believe that Eyes Wide Shut was his attempt to expose the hidden power structures governing Hollywood and beyond. The masked ritual depicted in the film is eerily similar to accounts of ceremonies held by elite groups such as the Bohemian Club and the Order of the Trapezoid, both of which are rumored to involve powerful figures in politics, business, and entertainment. The film's depiction of wealth, anonymity, and exploitation is a pointed commentary on the excesses of those at the top of the social hierarchy, suggesting that such power allows for moral depravity without consequence. One of the most enduring theories about Eyes Wide Shut is that Kubrick was pressured to alter or tone down the film, as it hit too close to home for certain powerful groups. After screening his final cut for Warner Brothers executives, Kubrick reportedly died of a heart attack just days later, leading to speculation that his death was no coincidence. The official narrative states that Kubrick's death was natural, but conspiracy theorists argue that it was orchestrated to ensure the more damning elements of the film were never seen by the public. Adding fuel to these theories is the fact that Warner Brothers made significant posthumous changes to the film, most notably digitally altering scenes in the ritual sequence to obscure explicit content. While these edits were explained as necessary to avoid an NC-17 rating, skeptics believe they were meant to dilute the film's message and shield the identities of those Kubrick may have been alluding to. Some even suggest that Kubrick's cut included explicit references to real-life figures or events that were removed entirely. The mansion scenes, filmed at Hatfield House in England, were heavily scrutinized for their set design and symbolism. Conspiracy theorists have analyzed every detail, from the placement of the masks to the Latin chants in the soundtrack, interpreting them as veiled references to Masonic rituals, Illuminati practices, or satanic rites. The masks worn by the participants have also drawn attention, with some noting their similarity to Venetian carnival masks historically associated with anonymity and decadence. This aesthetic choice has been interpreted as Kubrick's way of emphasizing the dual lives of the elite, polished and respectable in public, debased and corrupt in private. Moreover, the parallels between the film and real-life scandals cannot be ignored. The Jeffrey Epstein saga, which gained mainstream attention years after Eyes Wide Shut's release, is often cited as evidence of Kubrick's prescience. Epstein's private island and infamous parties, attended by celebrities and politicians, bore an uncanny resemblance to the secretive, hedonistic gatherings depicted in the film. The overlap between fiction and reality strengthens the argument that Kubrick was privy to knowledge about the hidden elite and sought to expose it. Critics of these theories argue that Eyes Wide Shut is less about secret societies and more about the fragility of marriage, the subconscious, and societal power dynamics. They contend that the film's cryptic nature invites overinterpretation and that Kubrick's death was merely an unfortunate coincidence. Nevertheless, the film's layered narrative and unsettling atmosphere ensure its continued role as a focal point for those intrigued by Hollywood's hidden underbelly. Kubrick's meticulous craft, combined with the film's unsettling themes and his untimely death, cemented Eyes Wide Shut as a cultural artifact of intrigue. Whether the film is a thinly veiled exposé of real-life rituals or simply a psychological exploration of desire and alienation, its impact remains profound. Decades later, Eyes Wide Shut continues to be a haunting reminder of the allure and danger of peering behind the curtain of power. Story 13. The disappearance of Jean Spangler. Jean Spangler was a rising actress in Hollywood's golden age. Yet her name is more often associated with one of the city's most perplexing mysteries, her disappearance. On October 7, 1949, Spangler left her Los Angeles home, telling her sister-in-law she was meeting her ex-husband to discuss child support. She never returned, and the events that followed only deepened the mystery. 2 days later, Spangler's purse was discovered in Griffith Park. Its contents were intact, but it held a cryptic note addressed to someone named Kirk. The note read, "Kirk, can't wait any longer. Going to see Dr. Scott. It will work best this way while Mother is away." The note provided no last names, and neither Kirk nor Dr. Scott were ever identified. The ambiguity of the message has since fueled speculation about Spangler's disappearance, with theories ranging from a botched abortion to ties to the Los Angeles mob. Jean Spangler's life was not without intrigue. As a young actress, she had appeared in minor roles in films such as Young Man with a Horn and When My Baby Smiles at Me. She was also known to frequent Hollywood's nightlife scene, rubbing shoulders with figures in both the entertainment industry and the city's criminal underworld. Some believe that her disappearance may have been linked to her involvement with unsavory characters. One of the most tantalizing theories involves Kirk Douglas, the legendary actor who was at the height of his career at the time. Spangler had recently worked as an extra on a film Douglas was starring in, and some have speculated that he was the Kirk mentioned in the note. Douglas denied knowing Spangler personally, and no evidence ever emerged to tie him to her disappearance. Nevertheless, the association has kept his name tied to the case in the public imagination. Another theory suggests that Spangler may have been pregnant at the time of her disappearance and was seeking an illegal abortion, a risky and often deadly endeavor in the 1940s. The mention of Dr. Scott in the note has been interpreted as a reference to an abortionist. If this theory is true, Spangler may have died during the procedure, and her body was hidden to protect those involved. A darker possibility points to organized crime. Spangler was reportedly involved with Davey Ogle, a known associate of mobster Mickey Cohen. Just days before Spangler vanished, Ogle himself disappeared, sparking rumors that the two had fled to avoid legal trouble or that their disappearances were connected to a mob hit. Despite extensive investigations, including searches of Griffith Park and interviews with friends, family, and acquaintances, no trace of Jean Spangler has ever been found. Her case remains one of Hollywood's most haunting unsolved mysteries, a reminder of the darker side of the glamour and allure of Tinseltown. As we've peeled back the curtain on Hollywood's darkest secrets, the stories we've uncovered may leave you questioning everything. But the truth doesn't end here. It's just the beginning. I want to hear from you. Have you experienced something eerie or unsettling in Hollywood's world? Or do you have your own theories about what's really going on behind the scenes? Share your thoughts and experiences, and let's keep the conversation going. After all, the truth is out there, and it's waiting to be discovered.